Everyone, welcome to Blue Dragon Universe, and this is the Blue Dragon Actual YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss about a topic which I call actual freshers mistake, and what there are many mistakes that actual freshers make, and we can probably write if we start writing a book. I think that will be greater than our uh, biggest epic like Mahabharata or Ramayana. But I think this is a particular topic that I've seen recently, and that is related to starting early. So let us, maybe understand that and discuss that. No, by starting early, I do not mean you are waking up early and then seeing this alarm clock and then again going back to sleep, right? So that is not a bad thing. Of course, going back to sleep is a bad thing, like this lady. But I think starting early, by starting early, I mean that you are starting actually when you are in class 7, class 8, class 9. These days, I receive queries from people who are studying in class 8 or class 9 that they want to start actually at that point of time, and they believe that that is a good thing. So this is something that I'd like to uh, you know give my or view my express my views on this, that starting early is not a good thing, especially in actuary. Now, of course, usually starting early is seen as something which is very, very positive. But actually, in case of actuary, that is not the case, right? And recently, Institute of Actuaries of India, not Institute and Faculty of Actuaries London, the Institute of Actuaries of India has promoted actuary to people who are in class 6, class 7, which I believe is a very wrong step, and that will push the actual crowd in the wrong direction. Why? That is the topic of this video, and that is what you need to understand. Of course, you are free to take your own decision. You may not agree with me, and that is fine, right? So if you do not agree with me, I'd expect you to write in the comment section why you do not agree with me and what is your thought process behind it. In that process, we can learn a bit and probably refine our thought process ourselves, right? But having being in this field for more than a decade, I believe that actual freshers should not start early. By early, I mean at an early age, like when they are in class 7 or class 8. So why that is the reason? As I mentioned, that is not correct. That is incorrect as per me. And the reason is it is a professional course. So actually, there is, all of us know that there are 13 papers to clear, and because of this paper and because of this exam, and also because of the coaching center. By coaching center, we do not mean coaching center like ours. Like, by the way, if you are not aware of Blue Dragon Universe coaching, you can check our description. We are completely digital. There is no physical footprint, so it's completely digital. We have multiple courses related to stock market, related to Excel. We are recently launching. We are going to launch a course on BVA very very soon. So everything that an actual student need would be present there. More than what an actual student need would be present, and we are working on that. So right now we are mainly predominantly into the higher papers, but the lower papers like CM1, CS1 is also live, and we are doing doubt clearing sessions for those as well. So do check out our course. The link is in the description, and I hope if you like that, you will purchase course from us. Anyways, so coming back to this professional course, so actually it's a professional course. It means that you learn in the job, right? So it is not something that is like your college exam or your plus 2 exam or maybe class 10 exam where you are understanding theory and you are mostly memorizing concepts, and then you are writing those concepts in the exam and then you are getting good marks, right? Or it is not something like an entrance exam where you have to cram up patterns and clear the exam. This exam is to make you successful in real life job, corporate life, right? So in this exam, in this course, the job is more important than your exam. Like, you need to get a job, and then you need to perform in that job. You need to learn many things in job because there will be a software involved. There will be multiple other things. What you learn in papers are not what you actually do in job, because paper is a simplification, right? And job would be way more complex, right? So if you start early, right? Suppose you are starting in class 7 or class 8, then you also forget early, right? So by the time when you are a kid, you start early, you clear 4 5 papers, or maybe more than that. You probably finish the entire actuary, right? You memorize the theoretical concept, you past that, but then when you are actually appearing for the job, you have already forgotten your concepts, and that is where the problem begins. Second thing is you lack the maturity at that point of time. Now, actually, is a course on risk management, and it is a course on financial risk management. So until and unless you will be able to see some risk in your own life, you will not be able to assess the importance of the risk. It will not be intuitive to you, and that is where actually would play a major part. Until and unless you have handled money yourself, but like for example in class 7, class 8, you would not be getting money unless your your parents are uh, HNI or very very rich. You will not be given money. Usually that is the case, especially in Indian household. So until unless you have handled money, until unless you have lived on maybe some small amount of money, you will not never understand the maturity that is needed to deal with financial uncertainty. And that is where you would only go through the concept. You will go through the concept like you are going for your history paper or geography paper, and then with that mindset you will clear that paper. And these days, because it is much getting much easier, people are looking to pass you, the cutoffs are decreasing, the papers are getting simpler, there is also much more information. You can solve multiple years cram up patterns, and then it is much more easier, right? Also there is MCQ based questions, so it is much more easier. But in all of this jumping up and down, you lose the conceptual clarity when, because the things that you have studied in class 7 or class 8, and then when you graduate, because before graduation you are not getting any job in India. That is not possible for at least till now, it is not possible. And then when you get into a job, you have already forgotten whatever you have studied in class 7. You never realize the importance of the concept because you lack the financial maturity. So it is something that is very very theoretical to you, many very very superficial to you, but you have not understood what actually those concepts mean and how it relates to in life. And until unless you understand the inner meaning of that, like the not the superficial thing, but the inner depth conceptual clarity, right? Until unless you do not have that clarity, you will struggle in your job, right? So then you will be a person who would be overqualified, or something that I call paper actual. So you are someone who have cleared all papers, maybe, or maybe left with 2 or 3 papers only. You have that peace of mind that you have cleared all the papers, right? Or you are left with maybe very few papers. That peace of mind, that planning has worked. However, in real life, in real job, you are struggling because you have already forgotten the concept that you have studied maybe 8 9 years back, right? So you started early to gain a first mover advantage, but actually you get the advantage by working well in job, by understanding real life scenario, by solving problems that is that other people will not be able to solve, right? And by the way, do check out my video on what do an actuary do, or what do mean by an actuary, right? Because I do not think there is a clear definition. Even in the website of Institute of Actuaries of India, or IFA, there is no clear definition of who is an actuary. So in that 11-minute video, I've tried to explain who is an actuary. So basically, this, if you treat this as a normal exam and not as a professional exam, and the word profession is very important, the stress is on the word profession. So then you would treat it as a normal exam. You would clear marks, you will get marks, you will show up those marks, and then you think that you have cleared papers. You think that paper is your biggest hurdle, but that is not the case. The real hurdle is solving the problem in the job, which is much more difficult. But once again, because you have cleared it much earlier, because you lack the maturity that is needed, your understanding has only been artificial, and also on even on those artificial understanding, you would have forgotten 80% of the concept, and unfortunately you will struggle in job. So that is where you need to do well, and that is where you'll be struggling. So you need to understand, this is not IIT. This is not how you should prepare. No, these days I've seen people preparing for IITs from class 7 and 8, and that is a good thing. I am not against that, because that the entrance exam of IIT is quite tough. It is tough because for a someone who has studied about class 10 and 12 in that in that age, right? You are supposed to know the concept of class 10 and 12. IIT will ask you question from graduation and sometimes from master degree. That is why it is tough. It is not that the exam itself is very tough. It is because the conceptual clarity that is needed is for much higher level than you or officially study. So that is the reason IIT is tough. So that is where if you clear that entrance exam, you get into IIT, and then you can uh, you learn more in the IIT, right? So there it is, that is not a professional thing. It is a college environment, and also in IIT not work on something. You might need to work on any projects as such, but it is not a professional requirement. You are not solving real life problems, right? So even IIT graduates will, when they come into real life world, many will struggle, right? I was just reading a report that after 2023, around 20 or 25% IIT graduates are not placed, like they were not hired by any company, right? So the reason is lack of conceptual clarity. And if IITs are having difficulty, you can understand actuaries would also have the difficulty. There is always a gap between what you learn in theory and what you are actually seeing in real life scenario, right? Or in corporate job. So the closer you are to the concept, the better it is. So there is no point in clearing more papers. Of course, 4 5 papers, 6 papers, 7 papers, that can work, because you will be fresh with those concepts. And then when you, after graduation, and you can see the relevance of those concepts. But if you start too early, then by the time you get a job, if you get a job, if it's also getting difficult to clear an interview, if you get a job, then it will be very very tough for you to remember those concepts and then start again. You can say that I can go back to my old books, and then I can I can reread or revisit those concepts, and in the process I would have lower headache of clearing many papers along with the job. That is a good point. You can, if you want to go like that, that is fine, but I think you will be uh, flabbergasted with too many concepts, because you will not be able to understand what is going on. And then going back through each and every paper, like if you have studied through maybe 10 12 papers, then you need to revise at least 6 or 7 of those. It will be tough. And I have seen people struggling. That is the reason I'm saying that that will be tough. So once again, question this, question once again, you need maturity to question, you need intelligence to question. But I hope the audience of this channel is mature enough and intelligent enough to question, and then do something that you like, obviously, right? So always remember this, that papers are bare minimum. It is just the starting point. It's not the ending point. So there is no credit in passing a paper, especially today when everything is getting easier. However, passing a paper would mean that you can communicate with a person who has much more higher experience in their language, right? So paper is just that communication barrier breaker for you. However, if you think that whatever is written in the paper is the ultimate need for an actuary, or that is what makes an actuary, then you are, sadly, you are mistaken. You have to, you will be brought, you will be given a root shock, and then you will be brought into reality that papers are just bare minimum. So always remember that papers are bare minimum. That is just opening the gateway. But once you reach, and once you cover that distance, then or maybe once you breach the gap between the papers and the real life work, then only your journey as an actuary starts, right? And in Blue Dragon Universe, you have multiple course like Sparkle 1, or actually inner engineering, IFRS 17, right? Which are supposed to bridge this gap, which only we provide. Nobody else provide that, because they themselves, most people in actual coaching center, they themselves has not worked. So how can they, teach that? So once again, be inquisitive, be smart, right? And this is where I would like to end this video. So if you were listening to me for the last 10 15 minutes, thanks. but you need to also know that who am I, right? Who are you listening to? Should you believe me or not? So I am currently working at this designation, director and also head of department of actual in an MNC. So you can understand I have around 14 years of work ex in Actuary, and I believe that you will be able to understand that whatever I'm speaking from experience. Although I have a coaching center, but most people in actual coaching center, around 80 to 90% of them have probably never worked in Actuary, or they have worked and left job maybe around 7 8 years back, or they are working at very junior level, right? So they would not have the vision, or they would not have the recruitment maybe experience, right, that I have, and that my team have. So I think that is where, once again, I'd like to reiterate that you need to be smart, you need to question, and yeah, just and you need to be intelligent, right? So that's it. I hope you find this video informative, and you are starting early, but not as early as in class 7. Maybe you are starting graduation first year, second year. That's a good start, but not as early as class 7, class 8. Although Institute of Actuaries have promoted this, that is a foolish thing to do. I strongly condemn that act, and I hope that later on they are going to kind of uh, go back on that, and do the needful to promote actually in a different way. So I hope you are having a good time. See you in future videos.